Episode 4 is one of the best so far. It packs a punch with not just one, but two games which present a completely new challenge. A challenge of strength. Episode starts up where the previous episode left off, near the end of the honeycomb game, as another security in the control room coverstly deletes the CCTV footage. Player 111 is escorted down to a secret area by one of the guards. In the meantime, the remainder of the gamers return to the main lobby. Gi-hun, player 199, or Ollie as we learn later, and the old player 1 are glad to see that they all survived the honeycomb game. But Gi-hun suspects Sang-woo of keeping something from him. The results of the honeycomb game are announced as the remaining participants meet in the main lobby. 79 players were eliminated from the 189 players who were remaining before the game. With the game's end, 7.4 billion was added to the big prize, bringing it to a whopping 34.8 billion. The participants then queue for a meager supper consisting of one egg and a bottle of Pepsi. When player 212 Mai-nyo is plainly plotting and scheming her way into Deok and Su's circle. Meanwhile, Jun-ho changes his mask for a square mask and disguises himself as a supervisor in the infirmary. Player 111, a doctor, is surreptitiously harvesting organs for a group of corrupt guards in exchange for information on the games in the hidden area where the guard led him. The guard informs him that the staff purposefully cut food rations in order for the players to turn on one another, resulting in a fight tonight. He advises player 111 to stay with the strongest team if he wants to make it through the night. Player 111 later discovers a piece of paper in his egg that has information about the next game. Back in the lobby, our main protagonists agree to stick together tonight because Deok-su and his posse are clearly plotting something. Player 67, eventually revealed to be Kang Se-byok, approaches Gi-hun and invites her to join him and his gang tonight if something occurs. As expected, havoc ensues as soon as the lights are turned off that night. Deok-su gets out of bed with a broken bottle and stabs another player to death, followed by the rest of his team. The lights flicker in a terrifying sequence as the players fight to the death, crying in terror as blood spills, while the front man and the rest of the guards stand motionless behind the scenes. When player 1, who had made his way to the top of the topmost bunk, tears and pleads with everyone to stop, the front man says the game is finished. The game is over, and Gi-hun and his squad have happily survived. There were 107 players at the start of the game. The number has now decreased to 80. Following that, Gi-hun and his friends decide it's time to reveal their real names. He, Sang-woo, Ollie, and Se-byok all make formal introductions. But player 1, either traumatized by the violent events that have just occurred, or suffering from memory loss owing to his failing health, can't recall his own name at the moment. Meanwhile, after assuring Deok-su that he knows what the next game would be, player 111 has persuaded him to join his squad. The participants are informed that they would be playing as a team before the third game begins. They have 10 minutes to divide into 10 groups. They still require 5 additional persons in addition to Gi-hun, Sang-woo, Ollie, Se-byok, and player 1. Sang-woo suggests that everyone split up and bring back one more member, but he insists that no more women may be added to the team because it has been proved that men perform better in sports. He is enraged when Se-byok brings back a woman, player 240, and when player 1 fails to bring back anyone. They are stuck with player 212, who is stunned when Deok-su forms a squad of 10 of the strongest men, plainly excluding her. Unfortunately, the following game is Tug of War, which confirms what Sang-woo suspected to be true. They'll be playing a lethal version of the game on a suspended platform high in the air, with one team plummeting to their death if they lose. Deok-su is clearly cocky and self-assured now that he has assembled the best men for his team. Thankfully, he and his crew are not paired against Gi-hun and his squad in the first round of the game, as Deok-su and his team comfortably win. Gi-hun's team is the next to face up against a team made up entirely of guys. Much to their dismay, they appear to be doomed from the start. Player 1, on the other hand, imparts his advice from his childhood tug-of-war experience as they make their way up to the platform. He claims that it isn't always about power. Even teams facing a stronger opponent can win if they use the appropriate plan. He instructs them to place the rope in the middle and alternate sides, keeping their feet planted firmly on the ground and tucking the rope beneath their armpits. The next phase is critical. They must plant their feet and tilt their bodies backwards, their lower abdomen up to the sky, in the first 10 seconds. As predicted by player 1, this throws the opposing team off, and they are unable to drag them forward. Then, just as the other team's rhythm begins to break, Gi-hun calls for them to start tugging. As the other side begins to struggle and lose their lead, player 1's method appears to be working. Unfortunately, they are able to drag the rope back to their side, and Gi-hun and his team's destiny appears to be sealed in a tense moment of terror. To their surprise and fear, Sang-woo urges them all to take 3 steps forward on his count in the hopes of tripping the other squad. On 3, the camera zooms in on their feet as they take 3 steps forward, and the show closes on that dramatic note. Subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this.